at the interior. No one has ever seen this before. Here we go. You are looking inside this mysterious building, and the walls are covered with what appears to be a marble textured finish and a wooden bookshelf with one solid column on the left and one spiraling shape stretching to the ceiling on the right. And if you look up at the top of this mysterious temple, you'll see what appears to be a detailed celestial painting filled with astrological figures. But before we dive too deep into that, let's just take a step back. Back in 2019, Jeffrey Epstein's arrest for sex trafficking set the internet on fire, and one image became iconic. This mysterious building on his private island, Little St. James, located in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The gold dome represented those on the religious structures around the world, like the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. We found that Epstein's temple most closely resembles this building in Aleppo, Syria, a bathhouse constructed in the year 1384 by a Muslim dynasty. There are obvious similarities, such as the gold dome roof and the stripes, but also notice the identical stripe pattern around the tops of the arches. There is no record of Epstein ever traveling to Syria. His family descended from European Jews who immigrated to America. He was born and raised in Brooklyn. Now, in one room of Epstein's island compound, we saw a framed photo of his elementary school. This is the actual photograph of the image inside the frame. This would turn out to be Coney Island's Public School 188, named after Michael E. Birdie. Building permits filed in 2010 for Epstein's island compound didn't include the temple. They instead proposed that an octagonal music pavilion with a grand piano be built on the site. But around 2012, the temple was constructed instead. Now, until now, no one has ever published video taken from inside this structure. In 2019, the closest thing to it was Business Insider releasing the account of a local piano tuner, Patrick Barron, who alleged that he visited the temple to service a piano it contained. However, the video we obtained shows an interior that differs from Barron's description. Through this never-before-seen footage, we show you what it was like to visit inside Epstein's temple. You travel up a gravelly road that hugs the tropical hillside, past what appears to be a helicopter landing site, which is situated in a discreet green field where Epstein and his elite guests would arrive by air. You crest the ridgeline and spot a giant sundial. Seen here in drone footage from a YouTube account named Rusty Shackelford, this large and mysterious sundial-borne image resembling the sun. But it also resembles a figure known as the Masonic Man, who first appeared in a 1754 pamphlet commenting on Freemasonry. You ascend further, and the infamous building emerges on a small hilltop up the gravel road. This footage was captured after Epstein's arrest in 2019. Now, some will say, well, this is old footage, but everything related to Epstein is 5 years old. He died 5 years ago, and all of the tens of thousands of videos are also 5 years old. It's still very important for us to ascertain what actually happened. Now, notice that the signature gold dome is missing on top of this building. It was reportedly blown off during Hurricane Maria 2 years earlier. That was the Category 5 hurricane that barreled through the Virgin Islands, causing mass destruction. On the ground, there were two more statues that resemble centaurs, one holding a trident. We believe that those statues are what you actually see here. At the time of this video's capture, they appear to have been moved from the temple to a sheltered area for storage. The statues depict sea creatures from Greek mythology called ichthyocentaurs. They had a human upper body, the forelegs of a horse, and a fish-like tail. Their names were Aphros, meaning sea foam, and Bythos, meaning the depths of the sea. They were often depicted in art as the beings that lifted Aphrodite, Greek goddess of beauty, from the ocean at the time of her birth. Now, approaching the temple, you can observe that the three-dimensional qualities, the architectural features, have simply been painted on to a flat, two-dimensional surface, not unlike the sets for a stage play. Now we are on the inside of the temple. You're looking at a photograph taken inside the temple. There is no piano, no supervillain chair, no sacrificial altar, no child sacrifice. Appears to be no elevator going into the ground, as some have conjectured. Just another renovation project. Looks like it was never completed. Now, looking up at the ceiling, here's a high-quality photograph where you can see one more piece of art. A large canvas that depicts the zodiac constellations. It bears a striking resemblance to a year 1570 fresco on the ceiling of an Italian palace. Very similar images there. Now, many people have commented about this mysterious building and what could happen inside of it. The responses to our recent reports have actually been quite mixed. On the one hand, they've stimulated a groundswell of tips and information coming our way, including that mysterious chalkboard that we saw. We've actually received dozens of legitimate interpretations, and we'll be producing a report featuring you, our audience and subscribers, who came up with some incredible hypotheses and theories about what that all means. On the other hand, it seems as if no new mystery or incremental revelation will ever be enough for those now invested in learning how all this crazy story ends. A lot of people saying we need arrests. Now, I don't have the power to arrest anybody, but we do have the power to bring forward information. The conspiracy theories about this temple and the rest of the island will spin on forever. We don't need to spend time here enumerating all of them, but we'll leave you with this. The alternating light and dark stripes on the exterior of Epstein's building resemble an Islamic architectural style known as oblak. It can be seen in holy sites all over the world. The alternating light and dark stripes represent the spiritual concept of duality, light versus dark. Some might say good versus evil. Jeffrey Epstein built himself a temple. According to some reports, he played music here on a small black grand piano beneath the stars. Despite his alleged vast wealth, the temple seems like a cheap illusion, a set in a stage play that still needs an ending. Maybe you can help us find that ending.
We were underage. We were little girls.
I was 16.
I was 16.
I started going to him when I was like 14 turning 15.
If you think at 14, $200, that's a lot of money at 14 years old. I mean, that's a lot of money now.
She's like, oh, do you need to make any extra money? I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay, I can give you, like $200. There's this older guy in Palm Beach. He gets a lot of massages from girls. That was really...
They were recruited by...
A new twist in a case involving sex, money, Bear Stearns, and billionaire investor Jeffrey Epstein. Though he's just spent the last year in a Palm Beach, Florida prison for approaching teenage girls for sex, he's now a free man after 6 months were shaved off of his sentence. Why? He's helping the government, reportedly here, build its case against former Bear Stearns hedge fund managers Ralph Cioffi and Matthew Tannen. Now, Epstein lost $67 million from investments in the Bear funds that imploded, according to the New York Post. The collapse of those funds, if you remember, helped trigger the credit crunch, the collapse of Bear and its eventual absorption by JP Morgan, thanks to the U.S. government and the U.S. taxpayer.
Luke Brunel, who was supposedly the model scout that recruited a lot of these women?
I didn't meet him there, but, when they held the modeling casting and Bill Clinton witnessed the whole modeling casting, he walked through while they were doing it. They pretended they were from Karen Modeling Agency. It was Sarah Killen and Andrea Mitrovic and another girl. They pretended they were agents from Karen Modeling Agency, which apparently used to belong to Brunel. So I didn't meet him, but it was sort of, I suppose, connected in that way.
Well, we're going to play a clip later on. We don't need to play it right now. But basically, Kevin Spacey said that he trusted Jeffrey Epstein because he saw Bill Clinton. So what was your interaction with Bill Clinton? You supposedly were in a hotel with him or something? What was your story in connection with Bill?
Well, what happened is I was at a bar restaurant with a friend of mine, and then I was approached by a woman called Naja Hill, who apparently worked for Fox News years later. She approached me and she said that her friend was here. He was the King of America, and he was here with his friend Bill Clinton, and he owned his own island in the Caribbean, and his friend owned Victoria's Secret, and would I like to meet him? Because it would be good, obviously, for my modeling career. I was a young girl. And I just so it sounded like the most amazing opportunity. So I went to the restaurant where they were, and it was Epstein, Clinton, Kevin Spacey, and about 3 or 4 other people. It was a small group. And they all stood up while they were having dinner and shook my hand. And it was, and Bill Clinton actually held onto my hand for a very long time. It was very weird.
Did you? So you had no sexual relationship other than that, though. But you had to share a hotel room with him. So what happened? What happened with Bill?
No, I didn't stay there. What happened is I met them that night, and then I went home, and then the next day they phoned and the girl Naja Hill said that Epstein really liked me and thought I'd be great for Victoria's Secret, and could I bring my modeling portfolio along to the Cape Grace Hotel where they were staying. So I went, and then they also invited me to actually go watch Clinton's speech, which was being held at the Western Cape Peninsula Technikon, a lower income university in the Western Cape. So, as a young person, I was like, I obviously wanted to go watch the speech, and I did. And what I did notice was Kevin Spacey was filming all the students in the hall. I don't know why.
On what, like a cell phone or a regular camera he was filming on?
It was like a handheld device because, it was 2002. So it was before, everyone had cell phones. Yeah, it was like back in the day, not kids could make movies. So it was some sort of handheld device. He was filming everyone there. And the speech wasn't about much. And then after the speech, we went back to the hotel, and then they looked at my modeling portfolio, and the girls were sitting there, and Bill Clinton walked past and witnessed the whole modeling casting. And then Epstein looked at my modeling portfolio and said he thought I'd be perfect for Victoria's Secret, and he wanted to bring me over.
Did they make you get lingerie? Did they make you get naked, or what was the casting? What did it consist of? Just looking at your book, just your pictures?
He just looked through my modeling book. Models have got photos of their, of themselves in lingerie or in bikinis. So he looks through my modeling book, and then, after that, his office started phoning, and Leslie Groff arranged to get me a visa and to get